Good evening, Munchie Mafia. Tonight we are making one of Timmy's favorite dishes, and that's spaghetti with clams. Can we do that over? I just spit all over myself. Oh, the TV went black.
Yeah, it was supposed to.
Oh. Good evening, Munchie Mafia. We are making Timmy's favorite, and that's spaghetti with clams. And so what we're going to be using is canned clams. We have 4 of these cans, and some onion, and some smoked garlic, heavy cream, Parmesan cheese, some clam liquor, some organic spaghetti noodles, and Italian parsley. Of course, butter. So first off, what we're going to start off with is the onion. We already have our pan preheated. Now, if you prefer shallots, you could definitely use shallots. But we don't want to drop that garlic in too soon. This is already pre-cooked because it's smoked, and it'll just burn faster. You can just use regular garlic. What we're looking to do is get these onions to a translucent, and they're just going to spend a little bit of time in some heat. Next, we're going to deglaze a pan with a little bit of sherry. And now we can add our garlic. Mashy, mashy, mash. And this is smoked garlic. You can definitely roast your own garlic in an oven if you prefer. It helps to take some of that spicy bite out of the garlic while also giving it a whole other depth of flavor. Or you could just throw in minced garlic. Or garlic powder or granulated garlic. I prefer granulated garlic. I do have some of that up in my cupboard for when I run out of garlic. All right. Here we have that. Now we're going to take our clam liquor. This is just the juice out of the can. And we're going to give it some of that. And we're going to let this reduce for a little bit. And of course we have our flat leaf parsley. I like to add a lot of color to mine. It's entirely up to you. And if you're going to use fresh clams or frozen clams, then what you would want to get is like a can of clam juice. It's basically the same stuff that's in the in the can, just to help elevate the flavor a little bit. We're just going to give our parsley a rough chop while we're waiting for that. All right. Come back over here and take a gander at our lovely clam base. We're going to take our butter. I'm going to just drop it in there. Let it get happy with everything else. Now, if you prefer to use white wine, you can. Or if you don't want to use wine at all, you can just stick with the clam nectar. I'm going to give it some salt. And I like to just add just a smidge of nutmeg. And when I say a smidge, it's like literally a smidge. Don't overdo it or else it overtakes the entire dish. Give it some black pepper. Oops, that's gone bad. And I like to just add just a little smidge of Old Bay as well. Just a little tiny bit. All right, our butter is melted. And this is just a half cup of flour. And we're going to want to allow this flour to cook off a little bit, our roux. Nobody likes a raw roux. And this is virtually a one-pot wonder of sorts. Of course, we have water on the back burner to get our pasta cooked, but for the most part. All right, add some more clam juice. And give it a stirry stir. Of course, we have to have a stirry stir. We're not going to add all of it all at once. We're just going to just gradually add a little bit at a time until it's relaxed. Because when you take something cold and throw it in a pot with a bunch of something hot, it kind of seizes up a little bit, and it's got to have its time to commingle and get ready for the party. You know what I mean? So Give us a whirly whirl with our spatty spat. All right. This dish was also something that was always a favorite among my friends. Whenever we would get together, it's like this is what they would request. All right. So there we have that. Now we're going to reduce the temperature down. And we're going to start incorporating some heavy cream. Our water is at a rapid boil, so we're going to drop our pasta in. Now there's this misnomer that the water has to be salted so it tastes like the sea. It just needs a smidge of salt, because when you got something salty here and you got something salty over here, you could end up with too much salt. It's easier to control the salt by putting less salt in there and adjusting over here. All right. Now we're going to get our tongs and we're just going to agitate this a little bit, or else you're going to end up with this knob of pasta. It's going to be all stuck together and you're going to have to go get kitchen scissors to cut it apart because it's next to impossible. You're going to want to stir that a few times throughout the cooking process so you don't end up with pasta stuck to one another. All right, we're going to switch over to a whisk, to whiskey whisk. A little bit of our mischief into this. All right. All right, let's come back over here. Take a look at our pasta. Give it a stirry stir. Get some long tongs, but also bear in mind, your water levels in your pot. Make sure you don't accidentally dip your fingers in there. So use some longer tongs. Stirry stir. All right. We'll come back to that in a couple more minutes. Now, we'll get our cheese ready. We're just going to set it right here for right now. Just going to give this a stirry stir until it starts to get bubbly and it starts to thicken. If you like to have yours with a little bit of tomato, it'd be a good time right about now to put that in there. What I use is just some halved up grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. Or if you don't have those fresh, then, a can of drained diced tomato is perfectly all right. Let's go back over to check our pasta. Give it a stirry stir. Make sure that they're all loosey-goosey and not, in one big clump. So kind of just pick them up and drop them around a little bit. And no, do not put oil in your water. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. All right. Let's get our parsley in there. I don't like to go too heavy on the herbs, except for ones that are kind of a blank slate, because we don't want our dish to taste like basil. This is not a basil sort of thing, but we are going to use some dried tarragon leaves, provided I can get this open. This thing's stuck on me before. Anyway, so we'll just use the shaker. Just give it a couple little shaky shakes. Dried herbs tend to be more pronounced in flavor, so you don't want to go too overboard. So just do a little tiny bit. A little bit will do ya. And give it a tasty taste in a little while. Let those kind of soften up a little bit and get introduced to that cream and the wine and so on. All right, let's go back over to our pasta. Stirry stir, flippy flip. Just like so. We're at the halfway mark for our pasta. A little bit of something else. Maybe a little smidge more of Old Bay. Just a little smidge. But definitely taste it throughout so that you can adjust it to your taste. The recipes are generally kind of they're not really for making exactly. I mean, you can, but food is interpretive. And your taste may be different. Your taste buds change as you age. Young people, especially children, the reason why they're so picky is because things taste new to them. So add the flavors that you like to your dish. You don't have to make it exactly the way that I make it. All right, we're gonna just add a little bit of cheese. Oh, but where's the clams, Civvy? We add those toward the end, or else what happens is they become little tiny rubber nuggets full of spite and malice. They just need to be introduced to the heat and brought up to temperature. So we can always add that toward the end. Just going to add the rest of that. That's just like maybe a third of a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. Not supposed to be a lot of cheese. It's not supposed to be very cheesy, but just cheesy enough. All right. This is getting nice and thick, and it's looking lovely. So this is about the time that we're going to start adding our canned clams. And you can add as little or as much as you want. You can also add like shrimp to it, or you can get those baby bay scallops and add it to it, or use the scallops instead, the little tiny ones, instead of clams as well. Because I know that canned clams are damned expensive right now, and with algae blooms and stuff like that, going out and harvesting your own clams may not be wise. Or if you live in an area where you don't have clams because you're not a coastal town, well, then canned clams it is, right? It's okay, no judgment. Just because I'm a chef doesn't mean that we can't go with some mild convenience things, right? All right, so you can also put as much clams as you want in there. You can put 8 cans if you want. Make it very clammy. All right, here we go. Let's check our pasta one last time. It should be just about done. Yes, it is. All right. I forgot to preheat the oven for our garlic bread. That's okay. All right, so we're going to just take one pasta noodle out and take a gander at it and see where we're at. I just want one. Come on, cooperate with me. All right, here we go. So a quality pasta is going to have nice texture to it. And I love these organic ones that they have at Costco. And that's just like 1 minute away from being al dente. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a little tiny little dimple in there. So yeah. Anyway, should be about ready. Pause. Watch out, Cindy. Move, Cindy.
Come here.
Move, Cindy. Fuck. What? All right. All righty. Oh, Jesus. All right. I am lacking in coordination today. Get that out of the way so it's not poking me in the ass. All right. Oopsie. All right, so we got our pasta. Our sauce. is nice and loose. It's not too overly thick, because we're going to be eating on this for a couple days. We don't want it to be overly thick, because then I'll just have to add more cream or milk to it. So when you're reheating it, heat up some milk, and then add your cold pasta to it. Don't put it in the microwave. That's just gross. All right. So we're just going to toss just a little bit of this together. This is going to prevent the noodles from actually sticking. All right. Now, my hair's in the way. There we go. You can also fry up some pancetta. Usually I put pancetta in it, but I didn't find any at the store. And if you keep your ladle handy with a pair of tongs, you just pick up some noodles and you twisty twist, and that way you have these nice little nests. I'll show you what the nest looks like in a moment. So pick up some noodles, drop it right in there, twisty twist. That's a small nest, but that's okay. Just like so. All right, set that aside. I'll show you how nice and tight this noodle nest is. So there we have it. We have spaghetti with clams. And I would definitely put a little bit more sauce on there. So just give it a little douse right over the top. All right, Munchie Mafia. So that's it for tonight. I hope you had a wonderful afternoon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And don't forget to cook with love and eat with passion. Have a good night.